more calories than those who even drink regular sodas. So any type of soda is no. Your habit that you're gaining is water instead. Your second habit that you're exchanging, and this one is where I'm going to kind of camp out. This is, I was thinking, I was having so much fun just preparing. I was like, okay, what is the ideal diet for anybody in the Ramp community? I was like, the ideal for anybody here would be a plant-strong diet. I don't care if you like to eat meat. I don't care if you, whether you eat meat or not, whether you eat cheese or not, that's beside the point. I want the foundation of your diet, the majority of your calories to come from raw fruits and vegetables. Now I know you're a little overwhelmed, but just hold on. I'm going to break it down and show you how to implement this habit. Let's throw up my awesome food pyramid. I would say that ideally, Joe and I strive to eat 70, like if I could say what is the goal that Joe and I try to aim for at home, I would say we would love to eat at least 70% of all of our food as raw fruits and vegetables. But we're not there yet, so we're trying fruits and vegetables 70%. And as we do that, then we'll increase the raw intake. But here is your food pyramid. Okay, so you have the vegetables. Why vegetables? Because vegetables are low in sugar, they're low in calories, low in fat, they're highest in fiber, and highest in nutrition. You want to get the most bang for your buck. You want to be able to consume calories that are going to bring your body nutrients, to fight disease, to fight sickness, to rebuild cells, to repair cells. And vegetables are top of the line for that. Fruit is, like I said, God's dessert. There's lots of antioxidants. There's lots of life-giving nutrients in fruit, but it's also higher in sugar. So you don't want to eat fruit all throughout the day, or you'll be hungry all throughout the day. Because any type of sugar, even fructose found in fruit, is going to make you want more sugar. Because, it just tastes so good. It's delicious, So you want to monitor your fruit. You want to eat more vegetables than fruits. Okay? And so I'll tell you how to do that. Then you have beans and legumes. All of these, from the seeds, nuts, and avocados to the whole grains and potatoes, all of those are plant-based foods. They're low in calorie, they're low in fat, but they are very high in nutrition. So when your body has all the nutrients that it needs, it's not going to be sick and it's not going to be hungry all the time. The reason why you're hungry all the time is because you're not getting the nutrients. You're deficient in something that your body needs. In fact, I would encourage everybody to go to Dr. Boyette, get a blood test, get a full physical, find out what vitamins you are deficient in, and then you can kind of pinpoint your supplements. That's a side note too. Everybody's diet and what you want to eat, I can't just say this is the ideal diet for everybody. It's going to vary, but the foundation will be the same. Everybody on planet Earth will benefit and be okay if 70% of their food comes from plant-based items. The 30%, if you want to do some meat or something like that, I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Supplements, people think they've got to be healthy, they've got to invest lots of money in supplements. Yes, I think you should eat supplements because the way our food is processed and grown, we don't get all the nutrients we need. But I can't prescribe the same vitamin and the same supplement program for everybody in this room. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different deficiencies. Everybody's lifestyle. That's a very specialized thing. And you can get general recommendations, but it's best to know exactly what you need. Okay, so that's your food pyramid. The habit is you want to eat more vegetables. Trade in the processed food for living food, plant-based food. What do I mean by plant-based food? I mean what we see up there. All sorts of vegetables, all sorts of fruits, all sorts of beans, all sorts of nuts and seeds, all sorts of, what is that over there? Whole grains. What is a whole grain? A whole grain is not to be thought of as bread packaged in a nice little whole grain package at Walmart. A whole grain, what I mean by whole grain is holy, just whole grain, like entirely just that whole grain. So oats, quinoa, rice. When you buy a package of rice, on the back, the ingredient says rice. When you buy a package of oats, the ingredient list on the back says whole oats. When you buy a package of quinoa, which I know some of you have never said, just say it with me, quinoa. Don't you feel better? Your body just perked up. You look at quinoa, and the ingredients on quinoa is just quinoa. Now, you go to Walmart, and it's in the rice aisle. You look at quinoa, and you start to freak out because it's $5 for a little box. But let me help you for a minute. $5 for that box feeds Joe and I for 2 entire meals, and I didn't have to buy any meat for that meal because quinoa is really high in lots of different amino acids and protein. So I didn't buy meat. I bought a $5 box of quinoa, and that box will feed me for at least 2 meals for 2 people. So not bad, and very high in nutrition. Okay, so we exchange plant foods for processed foods, dairy, and meat. Why? Because plant foods are high in nutrition, low in calories. Dairy, meat, processed foods are high in calories and low in nutrients like enzymes, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And not just that, but in our day and age, dairy and meat are processed in such a way that not just do they not have antioxidants, phytochemicals, fiber, omega-3s, but they have toxins and things in them that are harmful for your body. I'm not completely anti-meat. If we lived 2,000 years ago, I would say you could eat meat. When the cow grew in your backyard and you slaughtered it, and it ate the grass from your pasture. But I am not for in any way the meat that is produced in our nation in what they call, let's see, where is that term? The CAFO, which is basically the huge meat plants and chicken plants. The way that they process the animals is, first of all, cruel. And I know every person in here, I know you guys, if you knew and if you saw some of the videos and read some of the literature, I know you would not eat it. Not just that, but the working conditions of the people working in these plants. They are, the working conditions alone are awful enough that if you knew, you would not put your money towards that organization. That and then the chemicals and toxins that are put in it. Because right now, I'm not as wealthy as I will be someday. I can't afford grass-fed organic meat at every meal. So I just choose not to buy meat at all. And I look forward to a day later on in our lives when I can have a fabulous cut of meat and it be grass-fed by a farmer that I know and be full of nutrients and omega-3s just like God intended it to be when he said that man could eat meat. So, now it's okay. I'm going to help you, okay? I just told you a lot of information. You're looking up and you feel like you're a person at Mount Everest. You're thinking about how you eat meat every meal. You're thinking about how your most favorite dish has cheese and meat. But just hold on. Help is on the way. All right. So, here's some more information. A USDA study. Now, the habit I'm talking about is exchanging processed meats, dairies, and processed foods for plant foods. I'm not saying 100% of the time right now. I'm just saying exchange more of that stuff for the healthy plant-based foods. Why? I just told you my personal reasons. Now let me give you some statistics. Okay, the USDA study reported that 78% of today's beef that is used in the fast food industry contains fecal matter. How in the world? That's because the feed that they give is chicken feed. It's called chicken litter. It's composed up of ground animal parts, bone meal, and floor droppings. The cheap feed for the chickens is so cheap that 2 billion pounds of it is purchased each year. So, even free-range chickens, which are not used for fast food production anyway, are given only 6/10 of a square foot of space to roam around. So when you see cage-free and your little heart does a flutter, oh, I can buy these little cage-free chickens. They're going to be so healthy for me. I want you to first picture that it's still in a huge, like a huge chicken house where all the food and water is. And wherever the food and water is, that's where the chickens will migrate. But they have permission, if they so desire, to go and roam in a little tiny square foot of a space, less than a square foot of a space. That's not the way God intended it. That's not healthy. And so they feed the cows, feed from these dead chickens, that chicken droppings, all that. They just scrape it, they ground it into meal, and they feed the cows that. That's the majority, especially from fast food. Because when you buy fast food, you're not paying for quality anything, you know? That's why people eat fast food, because it's so cheap and convenient. All right. The conditions for the workers and the animals, the ingredients. The way, there are way more ingredients than what you bargained for. When you go to McDonald's and you buy a premium chicken breast strip, how many ingredients do you think are going to be in a premium chicken breast strip? Man, in my perfect world, there's one thing. There's just this pure, cute little chicken. That's it. But McDonald's premium chicken breast strips has 25 ingredients in it. You want to avoid the number one, okay, and then let's go on to processed meats. Cold cuts, hot dogs, sausages, bacon. They contain... Change is possible. Bacon used to be, sausage used to be Joe's favorite meat. Ham used to be my favorite meat. So it is possible to change, for you to have new favorites. It's not just like you're going to go through life and feel deprived. Trust me, I do not feel deprived in the processed meat department, okay? I feel liberated, hallelujah. And anyway, processed meats. The main thing about processed meats is, yes, they're processed extremely. They have chemicals, things in them beyond just when you buy a pack of chicken. So they have more chemicals, more toxins. But for me, the main culprit is the nitrates and the nitrites in processed meats like hot dogs, bacon, deli meat. Nitrates and nitrites have been linked as proven causes of cancer. High consumption of these meats means that your body stores up these carcinogens, and they cause cancer. And children who eat one or more hot dogs a week, studies have shown children who eat one or more hot dogs a week are at higher risk for brain cancer. Children who ate 12 hot dogs a month had 9 times the chance of developing childhood leukemia. And leukemia and brain cancer are one of the leading causes of death among children. So if you just completely cut out processed meats, you don't allow pepperonis, you don't allow hot dogs, you don't allow little turkey sandwiches. If you buy those things, they need to specifically say nitrate-free, nitrite-free. And they do sell those hot dogs at Walmart. I'm not talking about kosher hot dogs. Kosher hot dogs can still have that in them. The package will say nitrite-free, nitrate-free, and that's what you want. The reason why you want to avoid fast food is because of all of the meat that's used, the fat. It's low nutrition food, and it's high calorie, high fat. Now, I know that you say it's cheap and it's convenient, and sometimes you're in a crunch. How can you go around not eating fast food? It just takes a little bit of planning. Just think ahead. You know what's really fast food? Is to just pull an apple and some carrot sticks and almonds out of your desk. You don't even have to leave, or have it in your car. That's super fast. And it's very healthy and nutritious. Wives, help your husbands. Help your whole family by thinking ahead about this. Fast food is not good and beneficial on any level. And sure, if you get in a pinch, God will show you exactly what you can get. Like sometimes if I'm in a real pinch, I can go to certain restaurants and just get a side of beans and rice. And you can find things like that at Mexican restaurants and fast food joints. You can rearrange your whole order. Say, okay, so you have lettuce here. I see you've got avocado there, and I see you have tomato on number 6. So put all those 3 together and, make it your own way, So think ahead. Cut out processed food by thinking ahead, planning ahead. Bring your own snacks. If you do this, it'll be a habit. And then it'll be even easier than fast food. And it'll feel so much better. So make it a habit. Plan ahead. Don't go to fast food unless you absolutely have to. All right, cheese. Exchange cheese for other sources of fat, because cheese is the greatest source of saturated fat in the American diet. And saturated fat has been linked to obesity and lots of diseases. So why is it important? My own personal testimony, my own personal cheese testimony, is once I was delivered from cheese, I felt lighter. I had more pep to my step. You just don't feel as weighed down. You know how when you eat something, like sometimes you just feel heavy? That's because you just ate a lot of saturated fat. And if that's not enough, my own personal testimony is not powerful enough, let me give you this. Many cheeses are made with rennet, which is an enzyme that comes from a calf's stomach lining. And it gets worse. Cheese, like all dairy products, contains pus and even blood sometimes. That's why they have to be pasteurized. Now, back in Bible times, I would have totally had some cow's milk or goat's milk because it wasn't pasteurized and it was right in my backyard. I was the one that was processing it. So like I'm saying, I'm not saying that these foods that God made are completely wrong. I'm saying our way of processing them and the quantity that we eat them is totally wrong. And I'm not in agreement with the way it's processed or the quantity that we eat. So that's why I'm saying let's change our habits. Okay, so not just that, but cheese, if you still want to eat cheese, then just think about the way that it's done. Okay, how do you make cheese? You make cheese from milk. Cows only produce milk when they're pregnant. So on dairy farms, cows are impregnated over and over again. And they are drugged so they will produce more milk than what they naturally would. The male calves that after they get pregnant and they have the baby, the male calves are taken away from them after one day, and they're made for veal. So the whole way that it's done, as not just stewards over our bodies, but as stewards over God's earth, this is not the way it needs to happen. And even organic, cage-free, I mean, really, the marketing is so confusing and deceiving that you've got to know. It's like, if I buy cheese or if I buy meat, then I want to meet that farmer. And I want to hear, because you can smack a label, antibiotic-free, hormone-free on chicken stuff. I looked up that. None of the chickens, it's all marketing. It's not beneficial in any way, and it's misleading. You think you're getting a healthy product, but it's not the way nature and God intended it to happen. So when you're eating milk and cheese, or you're buying this milk because it's cheap, or this organic milk, these cows, they are doing something that God never intended for their body to do. And as a result, they get diseases, they get infections, and they feel the pain. If you watch the videos, then you see that these are not animals that just endure it and don't feel it, and it's not that way at all. So, white breads, you want to trade white bread for whole grains. If you buy a loaf of bread, then I want you to look at the ingredients. Read the ingredients. That's another habit, is read the labels. Read the labels. Now, this takes time, but it's such a habit for me that most of the things in Walmart, I already know what's on the back of their label, because every trip I've read some other different label. And I know what's in that. Why? Because that is going in the temple of the Holy Ghost, and I'm not just going to be some idiot that's putting lots of toxins in and careless when it's everything they said that they have to put it on the label. If you don't understand what it is, then try to find another thing of the same that you can understand more of the ingredients. Okay, the last thing I'm going to say, read the labels. So what I was saying exchange all these things for healthy things. So let me give you some hope, okay? You're going to wake up in the morning. You're thinking, what am I going to eat? How do I change these habits? First, don't buy it. If you don't have it in your house, you're not going to buy it. You're not going to eat it. You really don't want your kids to eat hot dogs. Don't buy them. When I took Claire and Olivia off of certain foods, it's like kids are really difficult to get to eat healthy things. You know how we're all born sinners. We all come out with like this insatiable desire for sweets and things like that. But as a mom, I'm not going to be overwhelmed by the fact that my kids aren't eating 9 servings of raw vegetables a day. And instead, I'm just going to focus on the fact, okay, they're not eating this, they're not eating this, and they're not eating this, and they are eating this. Whenever you're trying to change a habit, whatever it is that you're trying to change about yourself, be it food, be it whatever, the enemy and your fleshly nature will always try to get you discouraged by thinking of how far you have to go. And that discouragement will shut you down. But in God's kingdom, in the law of the Spirit, law of love, He is always wanting us to focus on the small victories that He has achieved through our life. So no, I may not be a raw vegan, and I may not be, I may eat cheese a handful of times, but I rejoice in how far I have come. From sausage, biscuits, and gravy to apple pie and ice cream. That was my history, and I am a living testimony that not just have my favorites changed, but I don't desire those at all. You think of the most thing. You think in your head, I love food. I love good food. You're thinking, I love food. I can't part with those things. That's not the truth. Joe, stand up if I love food. Stand up. Yes. Do not think that I am just some person that has no appetite and I just crave celery all day long. I love good food. I love a good meal. My favorite thing for any type of birthday, Christmas, whatever, just take me on a date and give me some good food that I don't have to cook and clean. I love that. But this is what I found, is since I've not been eating meat and dairy and white bread and white sugar, that's not my favorite. I don't even want that. I don't pick that. Why? Because I made a wise choice consistently, over and over. And when it was hard, I asked the Lord, if this is good for my body, then I thank you that you're going to give me grace to do it. And I made that decision over and over and over again. And when I messed up, I got back up. If you have a piece of cheese, please don't throw in the towel and think that you're just doomed to have an unhealthy lifestyle. Oh my gosh, I wish I could just shake every person that I've ever talked to about diet because they think, I just can't do it, or I just get bored with the meals, or you just got to get back up. Wives, I know your predicament. You've got to get your husbands on board. You've got to cook things. The average American household cooks the same dinner meal. It's like you have 6 or 7 dinner meals. They cook those same 6 or 7 dinner meals. That's all they cook. You have 6 or 7 go-to recipes that you really cook all the time. I mean, you have a certain amount. You have your go-to. What you've got to do is you've got to find healthy substitutes for that. You've got to exchange the white pasta for the whole wheat pasta. You've got to exchange the beef for the fish. You've got to branch out and try new recipes that are just totally new. And then modify the recipes that you love and find healthier versions of them. So you're going to have to, it's going to be effort. I'm not going to say that it's going to be like you're going to get in the kitchen and, this whole lifestyle change is going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. I don't think, trust me, I've never met somebody, and I met a lot of health people, and I've never heard them say, man, since I gave up meat, since I gave up dairy, I've just really regretted that decision. I've craved it so long. The way it makes me feel, those cravings pass. They're like your old nature. Eventually you stop wanting to do the old things, and you want to do the new things. And so you, trust me, you can find a way to make this work for you. To wrap it up, I want to talk about the discipline, the habit, or let me say this, the expense thing. I know that it's more expensive to buy produce. I shop too. But I'm also trying to break out of a poverty mentality that's not wanting to pay for something that's worth it to me. See, a poverty mentality is so hung up with the price of things that it doesn't see the value of that thing. You get hung up with the price tag and you're blinded to the value because you're impoverished. You have a lack mentality. So now listen, I'm not saying go buy organic ingredients and put them on your credit card. That's not what I'm saying. First of all, If you don't have the budget to buy organic ingredients, don't buy organic ingredients. Buy fruits and vegetables, wash them, and don't buy the Twinkies and the processed foods. I will tell you this, it will be expensive if you're trying to buy chips and processed foods and ice cream and buy lots of fruits and vegetables. That's why I say don't buy the chips and all that junk and just have the healthy foods. Sit down with your kids and tell them, we're having a major overhaul. Explain it to them. Teach them. If they know the why, children are little people. They're humans. They're just like you, but they're smaller. And if they know the why and they see you doing it, then they will pick that up. But if you are in the kitchen and you're fussing about how you're overweight and how no diet works, they're going to pick up not just on that self-image, but on those habits. So you model what you want your kids to eat, the attitude that you want them to have when they're cooking for their kids. You model all of that. And closing with this, I shared this the last time. Oh, wait, I forgot my main point about it. It's expensive. You invest in your health. Okay, when the fire happened, how many of you were here for the Great Fire? When that happened out there in the bookstore area, we didn't not fix that because it was expensive. We fixed it because this place is valuable to us. We fixed it because fruit comes from this place. And that's how it is with your body. You've got to invest in the health of your body. If that means a smaller house, if that means a different car, if that means different jeans that you buy, your health is worth it. Why? Because the work of God comes through your body. Your spirit is expressed through your body. Your soul is expressed through your body. This is worth the investment. You can cut Netflix. You can do things to adjust. You've got to get your priorities in line. And if something is wrong, if you don't have energy, if you feel self-conscious about your weight, then you've got to invest in that health. Invest in the expense. Appleton Central Alternative High School, let's close with this, is a special school for troubled kids with discipline problems. A police officer was stationed full-time to prevent violence and weapon violations. Owners of a Natural Ovens bakery donated $100,000 over 5 years to build a kitchen and hire a staff to provide a natural foods breakfast and lunch at the school. Soda, candy, chips, and chemically processed foods were absolutely prohibited in the school. Fresh produce, whole grains, whole foods were supplied. After initiated, the principal reported that the students were calmer. They were well behaved. They were more receptive to learning. They were happier. The school had no dropouts,